Hello everybody! Welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. We are kicking off Season 2, Duna or Bust. So we're going to start our game, resume our saved game here. We have a Let's Play with 352 science available, 38% reputation, and some 649,000 funds that we're continuing on. This is going to kick off Season 2. I think we'll set the Wayback Machine for an extended play. So here we are in the Space Center once again. This is going to be sort of a combination build, combination mission sort of thing for the next couple of days, and then we'll get back to our regular schedule, which is a build followed by the regular episode. But I think we'll start off by spending some science. And I haven't really looked around at what I want to spend. Heavy aerodynamics. Some big old liquid fuselage as well. Help our nuclear rocket program. Well, in order to get to Duna, we know that we're going to need this. Eventually. Probably. So, what do you say? We're going to need all sorts of fun things. Oh yeah, we're going to need fuel cells. We've still got some research to do to get there. But, alright. So, advanced fuel systems. We'll research that, giving us the Rockomax Jumbotron. And although that does unlock nuclear propulsion, we don't have enough science for it right now. I am thinking something along the lines of advanced landing. Which will eventually, well, we have access to field science. And there's unmanned tech. Specialized control. Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff going on. Advanced landing. Precision propulsion's always useful. We'll go ahead and get this one. The precision, 32,000 funds for all the parts. Did I get the parts over here on this one? No, I didn't. 43,000 funds for those parts. Now, what kind of upgrades should I get here? This one would be all my money, but we're really close to getting that, which would allow us to track unknown objects. Those are those asteroids. We have the claw, so we could retrieve one. But I don't think that's our focus right now. Now that we have some new nodes, let's take a look through some missions to see if there's anything here that... Nope. Not really. There's some typical profit missions ready to go. But our active movement missions are Fly by the Sun, Explore Duna, and Explore Ike. So, I think this is the one I'm probably going to end up doing next. Do you have any other missions that are complementary to that? Two tourists want to go gallivanting around Minmus. Nope. Season 2, Duna or Bust. Duna or Bust Mission 1. I'm going to take a look around here, see what parts I've got. I do have this as for a pretty efficient space engine. I think it's one of the most efficient space engines, if not the most. Oh, no. This one is a little more efficient in space. Huh. How about that? All sorts of connectors and modules and goodies and things. thermal control systems, and all sorts of fun stuff. Science. I'm reminded at the end of episode 20 for season 1, we had some... Get rid of those flags. We had some science going on. This one's giving us 0.75 science per day now. It's getting a little low on data, but that's okay. It's got 13 science. And the other one's over here on Duna Moonbase Alpha, which is currently in the shadow, but it's sitting on 1.4 science. It's only generating 0.32 science per day. I wonder if I need another scientist in here. But we have these bases working away. Time to get back into the VAB. Okay, back in the VAB, we're going to take a look at a Delta V map. Reaching low Duna Orbit is 360 plus 250, so that's about 600, 730. That's not all that much. Let's start building something. Command and control. Pods. We have probe cores. We always have probe cores we could throw at the thing. A little bit of fuel tank. Big old fuel tank. No, I think we'll just make we'll make a 2-man mission here. Who do I have available as crew? 2 pilots. I need to go hire a scientist. But we can make a 2-man cruise ship easily enough to go do a manned mission in the vicinity of Minmus. If only I had nuclear engines, that'd be the way to go. Now, in this configuration, let's see how much this rocket has as far as Delta V. Over to the old calculator. Now, a lot of this can be done with mods. I play a modless install because it's not that hard, really, to figure this out. Full mass divided by the empty mass. Wow, that's a lot of fuel. 9.4 divided by 3.4. Scientific calculator mode, please. Natural log times 345 times 9.8. This craft right here has 3,438 Delta V. That's a lot. And we already know that if we've left Kerbin's sphere of influence, getting to Duna, let's see here, if we do this round trip, take this whole thing and divide it, multiply by 2. Looking at 1,000, maybe 1,100, 12, 1,300, 14, 15, 1,600, 1,700 times 2 is well within the bounds of what this ship could do as far as getting to Duna. And we wouldn't need to bring every single science experiment in the world for our first trip. We could just bring a few. Presmat barometer. A couple of goo cans. Thermostat. That's all we need to bring to start off with. This is really just a Duna flyby. Utility. What's this thing's mass? 0.6? I think having our ship be able to dock with stuff is a good idea, so we're going to bring that along. And mount parachutes for it to recover empty. And there you have it. It's our Duna slipstream. Pretty straightforward type of ship. All we need to do is push it out of the sphere of influence of Kerbin. Now what I could do is, rather than, I mean, this would be the best way to go, but it would have, you know, not much thrust. Burns would take longer. Max thrust, 60. I could get that to 120, but that lowers the delta V. Let's try it. Aerodynamics? Fuel tanks. Yeah, this one. Mark II bicoupler. The only problem with this is I can't launch it that way. Nope. So we gotta undo it. There we go. We have to do this in order to launch it. Okay, now this thing has a torque wheel. We're flying to Duna, which is closer to the sun, which means that we should be able to rely on, you know, our typical solar panels. Nothing overly fancy there. need one thermometer. We are going to want some transmission gear, though, so science. So we can send back our results. We can put that on the bottom. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that can go there. This can come down here a little bit. And utility. Go ahead and put a pair of those on. Alright, so our ship has power. It has the electrical charge this cockpit is able to carry. It has a docking port. So if you ever build a space station, this thing will be able to do that. And it has some extra monoprop. You know what? I'm not going to need the monoprop. I'm going to get rid of it. At least for this mission, we don't need it. We are, however, going to need some liquid fuel and rocket fuel. Leaving without that would be a bad idea. There's the Duna flyby. Now, structural. You need to put on a bigger module here. Really, this is just the thing to get us out of the sphere of influence of Kerbal. Stick a poodle on. Structural to reinforce things here. Put a couple there. And a couple here. Alright, now the getting this to orbit part. Structural. Very large decoupler. Command and control. Fuel tanks. The orange one. And one of those. Engines, one mainsail, please. What do we have as far as solid rocket boosters? I'd have to put a whole bunch of those things on for this to go. It's time for an expertly asparagus staged thingamajigger. A little bit more liquid fuel, that's cool. Aerodynamics. Nope. Yeah, that little guy. That's something I hadn't considered. We have air brakes, which means okay, with the air brakes, so here's what I gotta do. I'm gonna want to do an aero capture if possible. So we're gonna use air brakes to do so. Oh man, that looks so tight and hot. Okay. Engines. Throw some reliance on here. And then attach some fuel lines. And now some struts down here for stability before detachment. And lastly, we need big old tail fins. That might not be enough surface area. Lock all these gimbals. I hate using them. They're a pain in my butt. We'll just use the rotational control. I think that's a decent start to a Duna flyby mission. We will add some stability enhancers. Can we add them there without the wings? Nope. Let's bring it down a little bit so it's not hovering so far over the ground. Alright, now let's get our staging figured out. Save this for what we've got so far. This is the first stage. This is the second stage. That's the third stage to go. Those go together, those go together, that's it. Now to do some maintenance. I want to take a scientist with me, which is going to cost me 104,000 funds. Andra Kerman has a lot of courage and low stupidity. We're going to grab her. And the other thing to do is to get Duna to the right launch window. And we're actually pretty close. I want Duna kind of off over this way. It's 0.35, which is about a third, if I remember correctly. Anyway, fast forward some time here. Gotta get this angle. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're going to Duna, which is further away from Kerbal. It probably means I need more solar panels. Or bigger solar panels. So I really want Duna to be about there, I think. I'll have to dig up the old equation. In fact, hang tight, I think I will. Hey everybody, click on the equation appearing here on the screen if you'd like to go through the tutorial. I'll open it up in a new window on how to use this equation to plot your own home and transfer orbits. With that, back to the show. Okay, so I'll do a little module on this equation, but basically there's a very simple equation that you can run the math on, it's just algebra, to determine how much of Duna's orbit it's going to complete while you're doing your transfer orbit. So a transfer orbit is going to look like this. It's going to go doot, 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 kind of start heading out this way, just like we were going to the moon, from one moon from another moon, and meet Duna over here. Well, during this time frame, you can really quickly do the math to figure out when Duna, how much of Duna's orbit is also going to be traversed in that time. And according to this calculation, 0.377 of Duna's orbit will be done there. So about more than a third, not quite a quarter. Or more than a third, not quite a half. Closer to a third than a half. Half would be 0.5, a third is 0.33. So if we were to convert that to phase angles, what this ends up being is about 45.72 degrees from there. So we're pretty much in the optimal launch window to try and reach Duna. Duna flyby. Grab Valentina and Audra. An all-female crew going to Duna. That's kind of cool. The launch pad can't support a launch that big. Unable to launch. But you know what? I'm going to spend the money to upgrade the launch pad. We have a whole bunch of money coming down the pipe if we successfully do this. Valentina, Audra, you're on there. Sorry, wrong mission. Duna flyby. There we go. Launch that. I hope you're liking what you're seeing in the extended play so far. This is just a quick manned research mission to Duna. We've already plotted out the fact that Duna's in about the correct spot to meet us over here on this side of the orbital plane. And this is the rocket I designed. This guy right here, this upper part, has some 3,000 delta V. So as long as we get out of the Kerbal sphere of influence, or really close to it, by the time we even activate this stage, we're on our way to Duna. We're not going to land or anything. This is just a flyby. We'll do a flyby of Ike. We'll see how all that goes. Quick save. SAS is on. Full throttle. And we begin our first Duna exploration in 3, 2, 1, kaboom! Oh, I like the way this rocket's behaving already. SAS is off. We don't need it. We can now begin turning over. Our lifting surface is giving us a hard time, and we're spinning out of control. Revert to vehicle assembly. So what we're finding out is that this much lifting surface is getting in our way. It's offering too much aerodynamic resistance. So I really need to encapsulate the whole thing. There. Go ahead and free up that gimbal. Check our crew. Yep, we're good. Attempt number 2. Quick save. T. Full throttle. Yo! Heading straight up. SAS is off. Go ahead and start pushing over. Now we'll let physics do the rest. That stage is away. We're on our way to Duna in this pretty good-sized rocket. We don't have super heavy rocketry yet, but, you know, we'll be getting that soon enough, I'm sure. Looks like aerodynamic forces are doing their job of keeping our rocket stable as we head up. That's pretty awesome. Next stage is gone. Kind of want to back off the throttle a little bit here so I can get my ship to fall over more. We're at 13,000 meters. $450 meters per second. Why did our oxidizer run out before? Something happened that's wrong. Oh, these things are only liquid fuel. They aren't useful at all. If they don't have, you know, fuel in them, they're not useful to me in any way. So come on. Had to sneeze. Okay. So I got rid of those. Let's try that again. In this particular couple of episodes, I'm not actually running a stopwatch. I'm not sure how many parts this is going to end up being or how much of this week is going to occupy. All I know is that we're doing a flyby of Duna. SAS can be off by about 50 meters per second. By 100 meters per second, I want to push this thing over. See, those aerodynamic fins really pull this thing into alignment again. And now we can let the rocket just sort of go. Nice big protected shell there. Toss this in its own stage. rid of those boosters. Thank you very much, boosters. Goodbye, boosters. Yes, I like the way this launch is looking a little bit better. Just if I can't push it. More like this, though. Last boosters are gone. And we are now just on the mainsail only. And we'll deliver a little bit of guidance these fins are going to give us at this point, which admittedly isn't all that much right now. Okay, need to go to map because we're coming up on orbital height here. 1, 2. And we're going to add a maneuver as standard procedure. Hey, don't do that. Add a maneuver. Standard procedure. Just pull that out until I get a circular orbit. Bloop, about like that. Back to this thing. Okay, now, where is it? Well, we don't have much in the way of SAS. But what we really can do at this point is open up the fairing. Turn on the SAS wheel. And get ourselves pointed to where we want to go. And we're late for this burn, but that's alright. We'll just have to cope. We are chewing through this fuel. We have about 10 seconds in that tank. Need to point out more. And about 30 seconds in this tank. Still need to point out just to get this apoapsis stuff. Okay, go prograde. That's it. We're in orbit with fuel to spare. This thing probably has plenty of fuel to push us right out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. We're not even going to bother stopping by the space station or anything. We're just going to go. So the next thing's next. Next thing's next is our ejection burn. All right. You know how around the moon, zoom back in here, around the moon, I would burn myself about sort of on this side of the moon, so I'd go that way, which would reduce my velocity with respect to Kerbin. Well, we're going to do the opposite here of Kerbin. We're trying to get out and further away, so I'm going to do a burn on this side. It's going to add velocity going that way, which means it's going to increase our apoapsis somewhere over here. We should be able to plan this more or less as a one and done burn to both leave Kerbin's sphere of influence and intercept Duna. So here, look at this. Set as target. And I want this line to follow my orbital path as closely as possible. So that's why I'm adjusting this. That gives me the most efficient type of burn. Now I can pull this out. And we see our closest approach is a little bit behind Duna. But that's okay, we can adjust for that. What we can do is we can make a less of a burn here. Go out a little ways, do an adjustment burn around here or around there when we leave Kerbin's sphere of influence, and then catch up with Duna later. So, We have a 26-second burn with this engine. I know that this engine is not going to be enough. While we're out here, let's get our solar panels going. There's a little bit more efficiency to be had by dragging that just a little bit. And a little bit more. Not quite that much. That right there is good enough for me. Really? We're only off by 0.1%? The Duna? Wow. Okay. Cool. Let's get set for this burn. It's going to be this way. 26-second burn. I'm just going to get myself lined up. And I know that's going to be a 26-second burn with this engine, but this engine doesn't have 26 seconds of fuel left. It has 10 seconds of fuel. And I was able to really quickly figure that out because I know that I burn about 45 units of fuel per second. This engine, on the other hand, probably has more. So what I'm thinking I'll do is I might start the burn at 30 seconds at half throttle. And then let this engine finish it up. Let's go ahead and get ourselves rotated. There's the moon. I'm surprised we're not actually bumping into a lunar encounter. Quick save. Myself all set up here on this burn. My torque wheels are all active. Now, I'll figure that out in a bit. Oh, let's get my burn going. I was a little late in starting it. So I went full throttle for a bit. Half throttle for a bit's what we'll do. This stage is out. See you later. Full throttle. 51 seconds left. $650, so this one has 100 seconds of fuel. That's going to get us way out there. We're going to have tons of fuel left for this Duna stuff. Duna or bust, here we go. Extended play, multi-episode. I don't even know what episode number this stuff is going to be occurring in. I know I started in episode 21. I have no idea where we are right now. It's all going to end up in the cutting room floor. That camera flip tells me that we are leaving Kerbin's sphere of influence. Thanks for tuning into this multi-part kickoff of Season 2 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program, Duna or Bust. Tune in next time to see what happens as we leave Kerbin's sphere of influence. Until then, goodbye!